of the Premier League in the round of 16 in the Champions League. 8 wins of 8. They're in the 4th round of the FA Cup and in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, which you can watch here on CBS Sports. They're playing Arsenal. They're up 3-2 after that first leg. There you have it, tomorrow 3 p.m. Eastern on Paramount Plus, with our coverage starting at 2 p.m. You see that guy on the left? It's Arsenal's blockbuster signing, Victor Gyökeres, who's joining us right now. Victor, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you.
Victor, talk to me a little bit about the season so far and how you guys have managed all of the outside noise, because it feels like so many people are calling Arsenal Premier League champions already. How do you guys manage that noise?
I think the most important thing is to focus on what we have to do and to make sure we do the things right every day in training and then, of course, in the games. And I think, we've done that really well. So that's why we're in the position we are. And we want to keep improving, keep doing well all the way through the season. So, I think with so many games and so many competitions, I think, sometimes it makes it easier to just focus on that really, and don't think too much about what people around say, because you have so much stuff to focus on inside.
Victor, you mentioned 4 competitions. We just showed the Carabao Cup Leg 2 that we'll have here on the network. You, in particular, you have World Cup qualifying and the playoffs. How difficult is it not to look ahead, right? You got so many exciting things that are coming up. How hard is it to just think about today?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know it's big things coming up, and it's always nice to have things to look forward to. But I think we have games right here, right in front of us. That's also very exciting with the game tomorrow as well. It's a very big game, so I think it's also, I think, for me at least, to look forward to that game and to be present. I think it's quite easy.
Victor, for you personally, I'm very curious about the adjustment going over to London, right? You had the 2 incredible seasons goal scoring wise at Sporting. You get this big money move, like a lot of pressure for you to deliver, right? Everyone's like, oh, Gyökeres has to have this amount of goals from the very beginning. So from a personal perspective, how have you taken that challenge on, especially moving back to England now in London, maybe in your personal life? What's that been like?
It's always a change when you move, you change country, team, club, almost everything in your life changes. So of course it's going to be a challenge, but it's definitely a very good one, and I've enjoyed it since I came here. It's been challenging at times, but I've been improving a lot and try to learn as much as possible with the team and in the club. I've been enjoying it, but of course it's been a challenge. But it was the same when I moved to Portugal. It was also a challenge, and it didn't work perfectly from the beginning. It was also a period where I have to adjust to the style and how they wanted to play. And I think it's the same thing here really, where it's a bit different, and you have to adapt and to embrace it.
Victor, one thing that hasn't changed though is the celebration, right? The iconic Bane mask. We were reading a little bit up on the origin of the celebration. You were with a couple of friends on the beach, but like, why Bane? Are you that big of a Batman fan, and how did it really come about?
It just came about, like I mentioned before. I was with my friends, and they were on me a bit because I was always celebrating in different ways, and I think they were a bit tired to see that. So I think they were all maybe to get a own celebration, and I thought also it was a good idea. And then we came together with the one I have now, and I think it was a pretty good one to to do. So yeah, I've enjoyed doing it, and I still do. So it's been amazing. But yeah, I'm not sure if I said it was Bane, but yeah, can be.
Well, no
It's a good
doubt.
guess.
No doubt world football knows it now. We were having a discussion, Victor, just before you came on. I don't know what part of it you heard, just sort of how strikers are thought about in world football, right? There's so many things that you can do as a striker, but in the end, everyone looks at the numbers. Everybody looks at the goals. Do you come into every season now making a move to Arsenal in the Premier League? You knew the league, you knew about the league, you knew about the history of the club, saying, hey, I need to do this. I need to get to this in order for the season to be a success for me personally.
We win games, and that we perform as a team. And of course, I want to contribute with what I'm good at when I play, and I'll try to do that as much as possible. And yeah, I think it's still time for me to show that I'm capable of doing even more than I've done so far. And yeah, I think that's a great feeling to have when you play football, to feel that you can improve and that you can do better.
Well, speaking of scoring goals, you're wearing number 14, obviously at Arsenal, associated with Thierry Henry. Why did you choose that number, and do you feel extra pressure to deliver having that number?
Yeah, of course, it's an iconic number here in Arsenal. So yeah, I knew that, but to be honest, like I said before also in other interviews, it wasn't that many numbers available, if I'm being honest. So it wasn't that I had the option to choose between a lot of numbers. But yeah, once I saw that number 14 was available, I think it was a very good number to take, and yeah, I feel great wearing it.
Victor, speaking of scoring goals, I'd love to ask forward. So what's the best type of goal you like to score? I get so many answers when I ask. Everyone talks about, a bicycle kick, from a bicycle kick to a tap in. For you, what's the goal that you dream about every single night?
Every single night. I think it changes. I think it depends on maybe what kind of goals you have scored recently, or that kind of things. Because I think if you've scored a certain type of goals recently, I think you maybe imagine you scoring another kind of goal. So yeah, I think it depends on that really, what I dream about. But yeah, I think when you do something extraordinary, of course, that's what you want to do on the pitch. But yeah, I love tap-ins as well. I think a goal is a goal, and as a striker, it's almost the same feeling, even if it's a tap-in.
What did Ronaldo Fenomeno say? That they asked him what his favorite goal was, and you can't ask me what my favorite goal are. They're like my children, and the guy has like 900 career goals. Speaking of legendary strikers, Victor, Sweden has some incredible heritage in that position. So when you were growing up, who did you look up to in that position?
Yeah, I think it's one easy answer to this question, and it's of course Zlatan. So yeah, you saw him, and of course you looked up to him as a young player, like almost everyone did in Sweden. So yeah, he was a big inspiration when I was younger.
Okay, Victor, we have a goalkeeper here that has played in several World Cups, Tony Meola, with the U.S. men's national team. If you were to take a penalty kick against Tony Meola...
Come on, Nico.
Oh, wait, maybe I get two different answers here. What do you think, Victor, would be the result?
Yeah, I think it's more a question of where I would put it in the back of the net, but yeah, will be a goal, yeah.
I recommend a Panenka. That's what I recommend, just so I don't have to move, Victor.
Yeah, it would be nice with a Panenka.
Nice. All right. Well, Victor, thank you very much for your time. Good luck with the rest of the season. Good luck in the Carabao Cup matchup. We'll be watching, we'll be broadcasting. Everybody remember that's at 2 p.m. Eastern here on our air tomorrow.
Carabao Cup semifinals, they wrap up this week with a second leg. First up is a match between Arsenal and Chelsea. Arsenal is up 3-2 going into Tuesday's match. Coverage starts at 2 p.m. Eastern ahead of kickoff at 3 p.m. Eastern, and you can catch all the coverage on Paramount Plus. So let's speak a little bit about the form of both of these teams coming into this match, both of them with wins over the weekend. But Stefano, speaking about Victor Gyökeres, actually, Tony, let me come to you first, because Tony came into the meeting this morning. He goes, is it true that Victor Gyökeres has only scored 11 goals this season? And that was something that surprised you, Tony.
Yeah, because I feel like, and it's probably the other things that Mikel Arteta keeps talking about that Victor Gyökeres does for that side. I feel like he had more goals, but certainly I know it's probably whatever, like most strikers, whatever number of goals you have, you always want a little bit more, right? You're always looking for more. Took him a little bit to settle in, I think, to the group. But I still think, and we're always going to judge number 9s by the numbers, right? But I still think there's been so many other things that he's done for the side. I go to the Atletico Madrid game, right? Against Atleti, he scores 2 goals in that Champions League game, but he also has an assist in that game. His hold-up play was really, really good. And I think that's what Mikel Arteta was talking about for weeks. But as I mentioned, in the end, when we look at somebody's career, when we look at the end of the season, goal scorers will always be judged by the numbers, because that's just what world football tells you is the barometer of whether you're good or you're not good, or you fit into a team or not.
Don't you find it pretty incredible, though, that this Arsenal team doesn't have one superstar that's carrying the load? It's like everybody. It's pretty incredible that they're able to be this good. And it's like sharing the spoils, everybody on the team.
Yeah, there's no talisman. I would say that they're the player that dominates a game for them is on the back line in Gabriel, because there is no talisman in this team, and you see it by just the stats where the top scorer has 6 goals in Victor Gyökeres in the Premier League.
Right. Even like Bukayo Saka, right? I think we were talking about Arsenal being potential favorites at the beginning of the season. We said, it's going to have to be a crazy season from Bukayo Saka, best player in the league. And he really hasn't been, but Arsenal have been so good.
Bukayo Saka has 4 goals in the Premier League.
That's unbelievable.
And it's what it is. It's Gyökeres with 6. This is all Premier League. Trossard with 5. Declan Rice with 4. Eze with 4. Zubimendi with 4. It's all.
And those 4 goals from Eze have come. 3 of them have come in one game.
In one game, exactly. Yeah, it is interesting. It's definitely a team built a lot differently than any of the past Premier League champions over the last decade.
Should we switch to talking a little bit about Chelsea then, real quick, before we get into the big Carabao Cup match between these two teams? Chelsea, they came back. Incredible match for them, Nico, to come back in this one. Unbeaten now in their last 5. How are you feeling about this Chelsea side right now?
Yeah, the only game that they lost was against Arsenal, the first leg of this fixture. There's belief in Liam Rossinier, at least from the players, right? And they got that late goal, which made it 3-2. And if there's ever a moment to play Arsenal, there has been a lot of talk about Arsenal wobbling. And every time Arsenal wobbles, like against Manchester United, it feels like there's this pile on. And then, all right, how are they going to react next? And they reacted really well against Leeds. So Chelsea's going to feel like this is an opportunity. It's like, all right, Manchester United did it at their place. We can do it too. It's going to take a lot, because no one wants to be eliminated at this point. You get me? Narratives can start taking shape once you're eliminated from a tournament, although it's a lower tier tournament in the priority list of these teams. Liam Rossinier is going to have his first elimination, or Arsenal goes out to Liam Rossinier's side, So there's more on the line than we might think from the outside, just looking, Carabao Cup semifinals, right?
Without a doubt.
There's still a trophy on the line, right? And we had this discussion the other day. How do you prioritize? I don't know that you prioritize. You get to the game, you put your best players that you have available to you. It'll be important for them, for sure, to put something in the trophy. And I guess we'll talk to Victor Gyökeres here in a little bit, and we'll ask him.
Mikel Arteta's work at Arsenal is being viewed in an even brighter light after the recent coaching shakeups elsewhere. With Chelsea parting ways with Enzo Maresca and Manchester United moving on from Ruben Amorim, the contrast is hard to miss. Arsenal has kept moving forward under Arteta. giving him time through difficult stretches, and now seeing the payoff as the club pushes again in the Premier League title race. It also raises a bigger question about strategy. While Chelsea and United are changing direction again, Arteta has been in place for more than 6 years, outlasting a long list of managers across those two clubs in that span. That stability has become part of the story, and it was a major talking point on the Seeing Red podcast with Tom Canton and John Cross. Beyond reacting to Amorim's dismissal and breaking down wins over Aston Villa and Bournemouth, plus Manchester City's loss to Chelsea, the conversation kept returning to one core idea: structure. Not just who is the coach, but how much power that coach has, and whether the club is built to support a long-term project. Cross pointed to Arsenal as a rare example of patience turning into real strength. He argued that Arsenal's willingness to back Arteta through the messy early phases helped create the stable position they're in now, and that this kind of time and support investment is what can turn a club into something truly solid. Canton's response was sharp and honest. Arteta's arc, he said, has almost become a problem for other clubs, because it tempts them to keep coaches they probably shouldn't. But at the same time, it's still the best example of what can happen when you hire the right person and actually give them time. And that time wasn't smooth. The discussion highlighted how Arsenal could easily have pulled the plug early. 2 8th-place finishes, then 5th, missing out on the Champions League, and a Europa League semi-final exit to Unai Emery's Villarreal. Any of those moments could have pushed a club into panic mode. Instead, the argument is that Arsenal recognized the bigger reality. Arteta didn't have the resources to compete at the required level right away. The squad needed a rebuild. The roster needed to be refreshed. That's where the comparison to Chelsea and United becomes even more pointed. The podcast suggested that recruitment and decision-making structure are often what determine whether a coach survives. If signings don't land, results suffer. And if a coach doesn't have enough influence, or the club isn't aligned behind a clear plan, it becomes much easier for things to collapse. In other words, giving time only works if the coach is empowered to shape the team in a way that matches the vision. Cross also emphasized that Arteta's situation stood out because he pushed to be a true manager, not just a head coach. The idea is simple. Top coaches want a real say in the build, and they want the club to match what they were promised when they took the job. The discussion even pointed to how Arteta survived a low moment, like the home loss to Burnley, because the club stayed behind him. And in that period, with fan pressure affected by the COVID-era environment, Arsenal were able to hold their nerve instead of reacting emotionally. Meanwhile, the big unknowns now shift back to Chelsea and Manchester United. Who replaces Amorim? And how will the next chapter look at Chelsea? The answers may come sooner than people expect. But for Arsenal, the reality stays the same. They're stable, they're moving forward, and they're still in the title chase, while others are starting over again. And that contrast can shape how people judge every manager in the league. Because when two massive clubs hit the reset button again, it forces the same question Cross raised on the show. Is the quick switch actually fixing the problem, or just delaying the real work? The bigger takeaway from the discussion is that time isn't a magic solution by itself. It only becomes valuable when the club's structure supports the plan, and when the coach has the influence to push the squad in the direction he believes it needs to go. That's why the distinction between head coach and manager kept coming up. The podcast point is that if a coach is expected to own the results, he usually wants a meaningful say in the decisions that shape those results. And if he doesn't get that, patience alone won't save him. That's also where Arteta's early struggles get reframed. Those finishes and setbacks could have become a reason to panic. Instead, they became evidence of why alignment matters, because Arsenal chose to treat them as part of a build, not a final verdict. And once the squad was reshaped the way the club believed it needed to be, the results started to reflect that long-term approach. So the repercussions aren't just about Arsenal looking stable, it's about how stability changes your margin for error. When you don't reset every year, you're not constantly starting from zero. You're building on decisions, learning from setbacks, and keeping a clearer identity. For Chelsea and Manchester United, the immediate consequence is obvious. They're changing direction again, which means the next appointment carries even more weight. Because every new coach isn't just judged on results. He's judged on whether the club is finally giving him the structure and authority that the role demands. That's why the question at the end matters so much. Who will replace Amorim, and how will Liam Rosenior do at Chelsea? because those answers will test the exact theme the show kept returning to: time, support, structure, and control. And for Arsenal, it's a different kind of pressure. Stability doesn't guarantee trophies, but it does keep you in the fight longer. And right now, while others restart, Arsenal get to stay focused on what they're already doing: chasing the Premier League title.